it is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the President Gele declines the board lines of priority to his government. For the international scene, rail and road traffic strongly disturbed after landscapes in Savoy. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, chaired today the first Council of Ministers for this year's new political year at the Palace of the Republic this morning. On this occasion, the President of the Republic drew up a general inventory of the strategic orientations which will guide the actions of his government in the months to come. This crucial event provided an opportunity to take stock of the country's achievement and major development projects as well as regional and international challenges. In a speech made on the occasions of this event, the President of the Republic stressed the importance of redoubling efforts to achieve the objectives set and face up to the challenges with a view to achieving economic and social progress in a constantly changing global context. The head of state also welcomed the conduct of the recent legislative elections, which led to the reflections of a new president of the National Assembly. The president added that these elections reflect our country's commitment to democratic processes, which highlights the vitality of the political scene. The head of state expressed his joy and satisfaction at the exceptional victories won by the country's young talent. The president added that these medals won at sporting competitions are the fruit of ongoing efforts in sport infrastructure, athletes training, and the development of national sports program. He went on to describe health, digital technologies, education, housing, and public administration reforms as sectors with a high economic potential for our country. The head of state also took advantage of this address to call for a greater redoubling of efforts in the government's actions in view of the external, regional, and international crisis. The issue of sustainable development and the promotions of women in technology also found their places in the government's strategic orientations. The president expressed his commitment to policies that support sustainable development and strengthen the role of women in new technologies. In conclusion, this political reopening chaired by the President Ismail Omar Guelleh has laid the foundations for a period of intensive work and challenges for the government. The strategic orientations defined during this event reflects a global vision that takes into account the multiple facets of national development from security to the economic via diplomacy and sustainability. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, gave a speech on the occasion to outline the government strategic guidelines for the new political year.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Pour cette 11e séance du Conseil des ministres, j'aimerais revenir sur nos dernières réalisations.
At the end of the summer period, where I hope you have been able to take a little rest and share more of your time with your family, the time has come to resume our work and continue to work together to the development of our country and at the service of our population. I pray to Allah to continue to assist and support us in our mission. For this 11th meeting of the Council of Ministers, I would like to review our latest achievements, the path traveled together, and also share with you our perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the government, the year 2023, like the previous year, was characterized by significant geopolitical change, both in the international sphere and in the regional sphere, and it is up to us to grasp the multiple challenges that stand before us. While further considering the many opportunities available to us, the recent BRICS summit, where I had the honor of representing our country in IGAD, is a perfect illustration of the world of tomorrow that awaits us. A world where the cards will be better redistributed and where more and more the countries of the South will assert themselves and find their own ways to ensure their development. Like the countries of the South, we are persevering on the path of development, determined to play an important role in regional and international politics. Our diplomacy must establish a solid partnership with these countries by promoting our interests in the economic and financial fields. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the government, the year 2023 allowed the installation of a new mandate to the ninth and the election of a new president to the National Assembly. During these last elections, our citizens were able to demonstrate maturity, show their support for the policy we are pursuing, and were willing to renew their confidence in us. Through this vote of confidence, they breathed new life into us, and we are aware that beyond the confidence they have in us, the expectations remain nonetheless, and it is up to us to respond to them and to advance our various projects. This new world that we are calling for is coming, but also carries with it sources of instability, as we see on all continents, but also in our sub-region. We must overcome this crisis and confront them in order to offer our fellow citizens the peace and security they need to live and prosper. Our security forces work in our territory, but also outside to ensure our security. We will also have to work on internal security and increase control of irregular migrants and strengthening road safety through the acceleration and presentation of the new highway code. In the social field, the National Social Protection Strategy 2018-2022 has been our basis for cushioning shocks and strengthening the resilience of our fellow citizens. We have also put in place a roadmap to eradicate slums and ensure affordable housing for all. To this end, the government is striving to increase the supply of housing and service plots for each category of the population. Similarly, the submission of an education and training master plan for the next 15 years lays the foundation for a promising future in harmony with our national development plan and focused on the development of our capital, human. In the area of health, our unwavering commitment to the expansion of universal health coverage and sustainable development has led to a series of sound measures, including the adoption of a medicine and pharmaceutical strategy for the 5 years to come, 2023-2027, the strengthening of a supply chains, and the creation of a university hospital center.
The head of state highlighted the national priorities and the promotions of economic diversification to guarantee sustainable development for the country. Here is the second part of the president's speeches.
Notre politique en faveur des athlètes de haut niveau.
Our policy in favor of high-level athletes has begun to bear the expected fruits, as confirmed by the medals recently won in the rankings at the last international competitions. It is important to continue in this momentum and to accelerate the detection of young talents. Many efforts have also been made in recent years in the management of public finances. In this regard, the joint, external, and independent evaluation of the public finance management system, according to the PEFA methodology, highlighted that despite the existence of solid fundamentals in budget management and resource allocation, shortcomings have nevertheless been brought to light, and the action plan resulting from this assessment should be implemented as soon as possible. The same goes for the reforms of public enterprises in order to improve economic and financial governance for a modern administration that complies with international standards. This reform, like the government's of charter, should make it possible to have more efficient public establishments that can direct more resources towards public investment. Private investment have accelerated sharply since the start of 2023, as evidenced by the many projects underway in the capital and in the interior regions, and now accompanying public investment, which for a long time was the only driving force of growth. We need to maintain support and for private individuals to carry out projects and strengthen public-private partnerships in key sectors such as logistics, with the integration of a unique floating dock in Africa and energy, as the upcoming integration of the wind farm and the construction of the future solar power plant for a national energy mix attest to this in order to ensure the energy transition and our energy security. The National Financial Inclusion Strategy will strengthen the interdenomination and increase the domestic private investment necessary for the vitality of our economy. In addition to the support measures, the reform of the investment code currently underway should be accelerated. In the digital world, our country has recently turned towards innovation and the technologies of the future to stimulate our digital economy and improve our administration and governments. The digital revolution is underway, and it is therefore important to support the institutional aspect, in particular the digital code that we have just adopted before the summer holidays, by accelerating the digitization of our economy and the generalization of online payment systems. It is also necessary to support the social change by strengthening the awareness component, and it is necessary to encourage the participation of women in the fields of new technologies. By offering appropriate training, various projects supporting the strengthening of the use and access to ICTs have been developed for all citizens, in particular young people, women, and rural populations. The benefit of the internet and digital are currently beneficial for our society, but it is necessary to support our youth and make them aware of certain misdeeds of these platforms and certain social networks whose characters are sometimes shocking and dangerous. These awareness raising measures will go equally towards civil society and education, and it will be necessary to raise awareness among young people in schools, colleges, and high schools, but also in universities. In this regard, trainers should also be trained through teacher training centers. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the government, resolutely turn towards the future. Our tomorrow must be concerted and coordinated for our quest for development and a better tomorrow.
Now listen to the government spokesman Mahmoud Ali Yusuf as he report on the 11th meeting of the Council of Ministers.
Rahim, sous la présidence du chef de l'État, son Excellence M. Ismaël Omar Guelleh, s'est tenue la 11e séance du Conseil des ministres en ce mardi 29 août 2023.
The first question is related to draft degree on modification on degree number 2 2010-2030 presents Ministry of the Interior in regulating to the new provisions regulations on the highway code. This draft degree therefore concerns the system vehicle numbering individuals received at the direction of mines in effect. The old regulations stipulated that the registration number of the normal series consists of a grouping of symbols formed successfully from a number of 3 digits in addition to the letter D, characterizing the Republic of Djibouti, in a 2-digit number additionally matching the series registration. On the other hand, degree number 210-023-02-130 Ministry of the Interior in force and relating to the level regulatory provision of the Code of the World stipulates in its Article 10 in the line A4, subject to the provision of Article 229 on the Highway Code and on presentation of certificates issued by the Customs Department, vehicles are registered either in D, E, F letter series for vehicles of individuals. At the same time, there will be more possible to respect the system of numbering currently used in the extent to which this system will be obsolete. That is why it is more than necessary to set up a new numbering completing the existing and allowing continuity reception services and vehicle registration in particular, and therefore of the normal series further change made to decrease suspended carry basically on the increase of 3 instead of 2 serial digits vehicle registration individuals after the symbol D.
Listen once again to the government spokesman Mahmoud Ali Yusuf.
Une question est un projet d'arrêté relatif.
The second question is a draft degree relating to the allocation, therefore, of a plot of land. In fact, it is 2 plots of land allocated, therefore, to the International Bank card benefit these 2 plants with an area, the first of 4,090 square meters and the other with an area of 46,000 square meters, just one being the last located at PK13, are attributed at expense, namely 1,500 Djiboutian francs per square meter for the installation of a real estate project. The third question relates to a draft order also awarding a plot of land for profit Africa Bank listed parcel with an area of 200,060 square meters is also awarded against payment of 1,500 Djiboutian francs per meter square, also for the implementation of a real estate project. Communications. The Ministry of National Education made a report to the board on the Back to School, which will take place on Sunday, September 3rd, 2023 for basic education and Tuesday, 5th September 2023 for education, technical, general, secondary, and professional. All the preparations for this re-entry are put in place by the various educational actors. The Minister of Education and his team will present in the media details of this new school year. The issues priorities recorded in a letter to return in 2023 addressed to all actors in the education system.
Damerjog Summer Tournament ends on a high note on the afternoon of Monday, 28 March 2023. The Damerjog CDC, in collaboration with the Damerjog Youth Association, is brought to a close its summer tournament in 3 disciplines: football, volleyball, and petanque. The aim of the tournament was to strengthen the bonds of community life and the development of young people during the school holidays. The population of the Merjog sub-prefecture, mainly young people from various localities in the sub-prefectures, rallied round to take part in the final of this summer tournament. The novelty of this 2023 edition is the participation of Ali Unes Djibouti Armed Forces in the various sporting disciplines of the tournament. A number of civil and military authorities took part in the closing ceremony of the summer tournament, which began at the beginning of July. They included the village chief of Damerjog, the colonel of the ADF Bir, the director of the Ministry of Youth and Culture, and senior officials from the Ministry of Youth and Cultures and officials from the decentralized services. Migration event in Dakhil, a strong commitment to responsible management, a high-level delegation including representative of the National Migration Coordination Office and the International Organization for Migrations meet in Dakhil on 20 August 2023 to give birth to an ambitious migration strategy. Upon their arrival, the delegation was warmly welcomed by the prefect of Dakhil, Mr. Hassan Robli Abdi, who expressed his gratitude for this crucial initiative. The members of the team where Aman Awali Umar, Muhammad Halloita Hassan, representing the National Migration Coordination Office under the supervision of the Ministry of Interior. This office was inaugurated on 29 July 2021 by the Prime Minister, and Colonel Abdul Qadir Ibrahim Gona was appointed National Coordinator. International Organization for Migration. The International Organization for Migration was represented by the project manager, Mr. Abdullah Muhammad Burhan. This friendly atmospheres marked the start of a vitally important workshop. The central workshop of the visit took place at the regional councils, focusing on the presentations of the strategy and action plan, as well as the identification of regional migration's priority. The elders participants included the acting president of the regional council, Mr. Ibrahim Gour Abdallah, the deputy prefect, Yusuf Ali Iye, and representing the prefectures, the head of the Dikil Police Detachment, Captain Suleiman Farah Awale, the Dikil Brigade Commanders, Chief Isi Umar Isi, local councillors, and representative of the international organizations and local associations were also present at this major event organized in collaboration with the IOM and the National Migrations Coordination Office. For her part, the representative of the National Coordination Office of the Migration said, Ms. Amana Awale said, explained that the two-day seminar offers every player and stakeholders the opportunity to contribute actively to the decentralization of the 5-year action plan by identifying priority theme and the crucial role of each in the discussions, which will inevitably lead to concrete recommendations. During these intensive days of reflection, a technical framework for migration management will be drawn up. This will make it possible to identify priority actions and the specific role of the institutions, thus promoting optimum coordinations of efforts in the field of migration. For the international scene, Nigeria wants more investment than borrowing. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Klawale Edun, said on Monday that he wanted to concentrate his efforts on encouraging investment rather than resorting to borrowing in order to create jobs. The finance minister reiterated the desire of the administrations led by President Bola Tinubu to pull the economy out of the torpor into which it has been plunged over time. The new government is trying to find solutions to sluggish growth, double-digit inflation, and heavy debt burdens. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Doris Izoka Anite, for her part, said that investment offers were already coming in for various sectors of the economy, including oil, gas, health, solid materials, and agriculture. And in France, a spectacular rock slide in Maurienne Valley in Savoy, after a heat wave followed by heavy rains, has led to the suspensions of rails and HIV traffic on a major route between France and northern Italy. The return to normal after spectacular landslides in the Maurienne Valley in Savoy could take several days, according to the authorities, and the area remained under surveillance on Monday's pending clearance. Late on Sunday afternoon, several boulders representing a volume of around 700 meters square crashed into the protective screens installed on the departmental road 1006 in particularly closely monitored sectors in the commune of Saint-André-la-Paz, explained the Savoie prefecture. In images posted on social networks, a large plume of dust can be seen typing of a cliff and fallen onto the departmental road next to the railway lines and the A43 motorway below. Fortunately, the departmental road had been closed half an hour before the landslide after a single falling boulder, explained Jean-Philippe Laplanche, departmental director of infrastructures. Toyota blocked by a computer breakdown. 12 of Toyota's 14 factories in Japan have been hit by a giant computer breakdown that has brought 25 of its production lines to a standstill. A giant computer breakdown has paralyzed 12 of the Toyota Group's 14 Japanese plants. The car giant does not believe it is a cyber attack and explains that the system failure is preventing 25 production lines from the ordering part. Toyota shares fell into the red at the opening of the Toyota Stock Exchange last year. A cyber attack forced the car giant to suspend production in Japan for 24 hours. Since January, Toyota has produced more than 5,600,000 cars. And to close up this edition, Basketball World Cup, African team China. The African team shown during these 4 days of the 2023 Basketball World Cup, South Sudan and Cape Verde, the two lowest ranked nations among the 32 teams competing at the start of the competition. Won on Monday. South Sudan beat China 89-69 in Manila, while Cape Verde beat Venezuela 81-75 in Okinawa, Japan. Both teams remain in contention for a place in the second rounds of the World Cup and in the race for Africa's automatic qualifications for next summer Olympic Games in Paris. Cote d'Ivoire won their first World Cup match on Mondays against Iran 71-69. The elephant victory meant that the Iranians had to exceed the competitions after 2 defeats. The Elephant of Cote d'Ivoire will play their final group match this Wednesday against Brazil. A decisive match for the team's future in the competition is the Ivorian having lost their first match against Spain. And this is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.